looking at the team that we announced, I think it's the same backline that played against the Griquas. But in the forwards, we've got Newlands coming in, JD coming in, and then there's a blonde guy called DeToy playing 7, but it's not Peter Steff. So if you can just run through those changes and what do you think that'll bring?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of strong forwards. We probably, JD been out for a long time. He's, probably our top lock forward. So it's nice to have him back for this game. Nitling obviously is he's emerging as on the national front as a really good tight head. He unfortunately had a bereavement of the family against Griquas, so it's nice to have him back. I think it's very important for our scrum. And Johanna Toy is the little mini me. So look forward to him having an opportunity here.
All right, great. I mean, there's been a lot made this week, Dobbo, of the uncertainty, where the game's going to happen, when we're going to play, all that sort of thing. But there's also been a lot going on in the country, which maybe just puts all of that in perspective a bit. Can you maybe just talk about what the week's been like and where the thoughts of the team are with people in the country?
Yeah, I think it's been a very, obviously the Western Cape's been a bit different, but it's been a very disturbing week. I think what's a nice, it's a tragic week, and I suppose rugby gives us, and I want to be self-serving, an opportunity to entertain people, maybe distract them from obviously the crisis that our country's in, which is obviously the priority. I don't want it to appear that we engaging in frivolities. I think there's a lot about this rugby tour from the Lions side and from the South African side, and rugby as a community. There's something almost heroic about this tour carrying on for the good of rugby, and probably eventually for the good of the people. So it's I think that people could have complained about from the Lions side, Springbok side, our side, a million things, or this disruption or that disruption, and the way there's been this determination to keep calm and carry on for the right reasons. I suspect it's been really something to be proud of for the sport, obviously in cognizance of the great art.
Yeah, and then before you guys play on Saturday, there's actually another game happening tomorrow. You guys have been training at Newlands the whole week, and we've got the women looking for an unbeaten perfect season tomorrow. Have you guys left the pitch in a decent enough state for that final?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I think the Newlands pitch saw quite some rugby the last time. I think the under-20 series was last week or 2 weeks ago. They played their final games there. Obviously, quite some rain falling, but I think we left the pitch in a good condition, and obviously looking forward to them. I think it's been they've been the last recent years, they've been really good and performed really, really well. So yeah, we hope they'll go well. I think it's against Border, and that they can pull it through.
Ernst, obviously as captain, I mean, this is not really a sort of game you have to motivate the guys much for, I'm sure. But what is the vibe been like in the bubble and in the camp this week?
Yeah, I think initially, obviously, like Dobbo mentioned, uncertainty was tough, but I think we handled it quite well. I think, obviously, like you mentioned, the guys don't need any motivation, and we just, at this stage, just really, really pleased, like Dobbo mentioned, all the efforts that have gone in to keep the game going on, and to have the opportunity to play, even though it's tough times out there. And I think for the rest of the team, yeah, everyone's really excited and to get an opportunity and to see how we go, and hopefully, yeah, we go well. I think guys are really excited, and the bubble week is something different, but it's nothing. I think we're a nice close group, and we've made it as enjoyable as we could, also looking after the protocols and everything.
Perfect. All right, guys, if I can ask you to please raise your hands virtually, and then we can be a bit more civilized than usual, hopefully. So if you've got questions for these two. Leighton, I see you got your hand up.
Hi, Dobbo. Hi, Ernst. Dobbo, just in terms of, we spoke briefly last week where you had a bit of concerns, but are you happy that Warren Gatland was batting to play you guys this weekend, and that you're getting the game?
I don't know if that's a compliment to an insult. No, but Leeds, we actually, look, obviously for our players, through all the games going ahead, we obviously would have acted whatever is in the interest of South African rugby, and but I think so it's a tricky position to be in, because you want these guys to experience what is a great occasion for us, and but at the same time you want to help the national cause. But I completely understand Warren's position, and also I think to some mind that playing the provincial teams keeps some sort of integrity of what is a tour, So we would have gone with whatever we were told to do, but we're really keen to play and really appreciative. I was just actually having a look. I think the last time, other than the Northern Transvaal in 1997, the last time a provincial team won a game against it was in 1968. So it's not new that the provincial teams are obviously not as strong as national teams. Maybe Warren feels a week out from a test match is a nice chance for him to get through some patterns, and hopefully we'll do our best to disrupt that.
Andrew, got a question.
John, it's Andrew McKenna from TalkSport Radio in the UK. I mean, Rassie Erasmus was still talking about South Africa 8 taking over the game. Was there ever any direct communication between the Stormers and the Springboks about what was going on?
And absolutely, no, there wasn't. We got in here last Friday and had been preparing. I never got any sort of formal communication other than what we read in the media. So no, there wasn't. I see it's still, apparently it sounds like after last night's game, it's still alive, but we haven't heard anything.
The intensity of the South Africa A game last night was way above what the Lions have come into contact with on the tour so far. Is your job on Saturday almost to try and get as near to that intensity as possible?
I think for our own, obviously there's a personnel issue. There's probably a weight and experience issue, but that would be absolutely our job. We've talked, our theme for this week is test match intensity. We are a provincial team and we're going to have to play at test match intensity. So that's exactly spot on.
How much does Marcus Smith playing change the Lions' approach? I mean, Owen Farrell would be seen as more of a kicking 10, although Marcus Smith does kick. He obviously would be a more a running threat.
Yeah, we watched the Harlequins run towards the end of the semi-final against Bristol, the comeback, that amazing final with a lot of interest. And we know how flat he is. In some ways, it's a massive threat to us and way brings guys into the game. And we saw it last week against Canada, but also an opportunity for us, to force the guys on debut if we're in their faces enough to maybe make a mistake or two. So it does change how we would have prepped for the game a little bit, yeah.
And can I just ask you, in your team announcement, you have named 27 players. Are the 1 to 23 the likely starters and the bench with guys 24 to 27 there if required?
Yeah, and we've had a protocol in South African rugby over the virus to name squads of 26 to 28 just to give us guys that are cleaned and tested. So no, you're right. Players 23 were the ones, if you wanted to publish, I would publish that.
Thank you very much for your help.
Thanks a lot.
Leeton, you got another question?
Yes. Dobbo, just in terms of your team as well, perfect opportunity for them to get some momentum going again after the last couple of speed bumps that you hit in the Currie Cup. Do you see it that way? And there's also the downside where a drubbing could put the team on the back foot a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, Griquas was obviously a speed bump. I think the week before we beat the Sharks. So it's not a couple of speed bumps, but that, no, look, I mean, this game, we're in Bloemfontein next Wednesday in a Currie Cup fixture. So, but I mean, it's hard. This game we are viewing entirely as a one-off. To do justice to the occasion, I think it's by 6 days, 130 years since Western Province first played against the touring Lions. So it's a special occasion for us. We're not viewing it, with any form of impact on our Currie Cup season. We're going to be quite disciplined around that. We've got 3 games in 8 days, one of which is against an international team. So we're going to have to sort of go almost day by day and get through it, and then look at rotating and that sort of thing. It's hard to say it's fixed for a critical game in terms of the Currie Cup momentum. Obviously, if we do well, we'll get a lot of confidence, which will be really good for us.
Cool. Morgan, got a question?
Ernst, I see that Alan Wynne-Jones has been named on the bench for the game against you guys. And as a second row, you must be looking forward to playing against the world's most experienced international.
Yeah. I think I read last night he's arriving, I think, on today. And obviously seeing the team this morning, seeing that he's on the bench, obviously that's a great occasion. I think for us, obviously we want to measure ourselves against the best. And it's going to be a great occasion. And obviously, especially playing in the second row the last few months again, like you mentioned, most experienced guy in world rugby and definitely somebody to sort of look up to. But yeah, obviously keen for the game. I think not just me, but also the whole team. All the positions like Dobbo mentioned is mostly, everyone is test players. So yeah, it's something you thrive to challenge yourself against.
Michael, I can't operate my hand, so I can't put a hand up.
You can't operate your hands. Yeah, that's hands down the worst excuse I've ever heard. Go for it, Gavin.
Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks. I was just going to ask Dobbo. I won't ask Ernst because I think he's maybe too young for this question. Dobbo, you were brought up in the Western Cape and obviously came from a rugby camp, Germany. Are there any games between Western Province and the Lions that sort of stand out in your memory that you went to watch? I mean, did you watch them play in '74?
Yeah, I saw Southern Universities in '74 when what we would then call demonstrators or university students invaded the field. And I saw in 1980 us take 30 odd from the Lions. I can't remember if Morné du Plessis played or not. So no, I'm acutely aware of the history, and I know we didn't win in 1955 or 1968 or 1974 or 1997 and 2009 we lost by 3 points. So no, I'm very aware of the history. I mean, I think a lot of these hard provincial games are fabled, but we will do our best on Saturday. No, so we're acutely aware of the history of the Lions.
Talking about sort of a semi-hard provincial game, if you like. Last week, the Lions in the first, the Sharks in the first half sort of fronted a bit, and you did beat them the last time you played them, which wasn't that much longer before that. Did that hearten you in some way? I mean, that they made the Lions look a little bit more mortal just in those first 50 minutes before Jaden was sent off.
Yeah, I think again, what Andrew McKenna raised about the intensity and the physicality of the Sharks in that first 20 minutes of the second game. I must say, it's not going to sound very obvious, but I do think that the provincial teams, given the circumstances of who's not available and the world we're living in, have actually done reasonably well. There've been some really good moments from what we call them now, the Sigma Lions, even in that first Sharks game, playing at Highveld with a team of that best of those countries, and you turn over ball against those amazing backs. It's always going to, the scoreboard can tick over very fast. But definitely that first half against the Sharks, the way they competed at the breakdown, the way they got off the line, the way they were intense physically, and we saw the reward of that with even better players last night. I think there is a little bit of a model there. It's not easy. I mean, you can teach a tactical move or something in a week to become more physical. That's obviously a challenge.
All right, happy, Gavin. Heinz, you got a question?
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Hi, Dobbo. Hi, Ernst. Dobbo, probably going to put you a bit on the spot now, but these type of debates are quite rife, in our rugby and stuff. Damian WILLEMSE playing a bit of 12, last night. I mean, without trying to read too much into it, is that sort of an intriguing thought for you, even though if it's not in your plans necessarily?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's a great question, Heinz, because probably people do debate it, and I've come to the defense of the Damian WILLEMSE situation before. I do think he's looked very sharp in that sort of cameo against Georgia and last night at 12. It's not a new thing. He played for us in a Currie Cup final at 12 in 2018 and a couple of games as well. So, if we got Warwick Gelant back, who's obviously an international class 15, and we've got Damian WILLEMSE, to my mind, is also an international class 15. Somebody's going to have to move somebody else, and that's probably living us to another possibility, whether it's Damian 15, Warwick 13, or Warwick 15, Damian 12, which is looking really more exciting. So it's probably carries on in this vein. It's probably the way we would go, to be honest. Yeah.
First person to pick him at 12 was you, Dobbo. Is that what you're saying?
Thanks very much, Mike. Thanks for pointing it out.
Yeah.
Leeton,
you got a question? Leeton.
Yes, I'm here. I was just laughing. Sorry about that. Dobbo, in terms of Boogie, he was really pushing for this game. What led to the decision in the end? Do you feel is not there yet to handle that intensity, and also some of the other guys that are missing out? Just a word on them.
Yeah, I think Boogie was. It was such a big injury late in that, and he had a sort of 2 week. Something went wrong. He got pushed back 2 weeks in his rehab, so he won't be back till the end of this month. So it wasn't close, and actually in the end, we were pushing hard for this game. But he's such an important player for us, and as we know, this game's been in doubt often. We sort of said, okay, take our time and try and get him ready for the end of the month. Listen, it is a blow. Alistair van Mark, I was thinking, what I think of him as a loose head. Obviously, all our national players. Marvin Ori was a guy we weren't necessarily expecting. I'm thrilled that he's gone up to the national team. Saman Marat having to go for an operation. Those are, be a couple of the loose forwards out. It's Paul de Vet's out. So it's a bit of there are a few upheavals, but I still think we're putting on a team that's really keen and going to be as competitive as we can.
Michael, I still haven't learned how to use that hand, so I can ask one final.
Go for it, Gavin.
Okay, and it's just, sorry, again, Dobbo, it's you answered just now about Damien at 12. And this is like just a personal thing because it's just something I've often thought about. You don't think that he could play 13?
That's probably the one I haven't thought of, Gavin, to be honest.
He's got the for that.
Look, he can play anyway, is the truth. I think Warwick could be a really, really good 13, so we probably won't go that route because then we do risk, putting Damien 10, 12, 13, 15 might be a bit much. But he's got the attributes, you did right.
Okay, thanks.
Sorry, Mark, I'm also operating with my feet on this version of Zoom.
Yes, Stephen, just don't put it in your mouth.
Just, Dobbo, just Thomas Bursey on the bench. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, look, he's a very, very talented scrum half. We've been looking at him for the last 2 years, trying to get him opportunity. I think his SA School's got amazing kicking game. He's a different 9 to the ones we normally have, which is probably why we haven't brought him in earlier. But a really skilled kicking game, good passing game, very fast. I think you may have seen in the Varsity Cup when he came back from a long-term injury, he made a real difference to that Stellenbosch team. Look, he's still a youngster. He was out for a few months now, having fallen off a roof. You can work it out, but he's back now, and we think he's got a really big future with us.
And how long will Paul de Wet be out for?
Hopefully only a couple of weeks.
Okay, are there any other questions, guys? Litzen, you got another one?
Yes, thanks, Mikey. Dobbo, just in terms of how the Lions have been playing against the provincial sides, we've seen quite a lot of space behind guys like Duan and the other winger, Josh Adams, when they do play. And you've got an exciting back three, but also in the last couple of games, sometimes a bit too eager to go wide at first and not earning that right. Will that be a focus point for you guys to get that right, to get the ball to go wide?
Yeah, I think what's without we've seen two different Lions teams. They're perhaps more cavalier performance of the provincial games where the pressure's less on and not much focus on set piece, to a very different Lions team we saw last night. Where the outstanding in the scrum, the maul defense. So we've set up there a lot of fires you've got to put out when you play against a team like them. But I think if you're going to go wide, as you say, without cliche says, without earning the right, and you turn ball over, they can hurt you very quickly with those back three, like you say. And Stuart Hogg's playing again. I mean, he's great on the turnover ball. So, I'm not saying we're going to play conservatively, but you're going to have to play pretty directly before you can go wide. There's no question.
Cool. Any other questions, guys? Are we done?
Fine,
Very
thanks.
good.